exclusively on YouTube. We're trying something different and new. We love it. But talking about studs, our stud, the Savage stud, a lot of fights to talk to her about. Of course, this past weekend was a big fight on the card that I definitely want to pick her brain about. A fight was just announced a couple of hours ago. I can't wait to talk to this guest, Gillian, the Savage Robertson. What's up, G?
Sorry, I'm busy.
Aw.
No
The pup just
apologies
needs the limelight.
It's actually our 1 year adoptiversary today, so she's celebrating.
I love that. Dude, there's been like a lot of birthdays, anniversaries, a lot of stuff going around at the end of August. I love it. Big thing.
Yeah, we're saying it's his 1 year and 4 month too, because we can't celebrate her without celebrating him too. So
Of course.
yeah.
Introduce the pups to us.
This is Gordo. He's my little feisty one. He's small and angry, but he loves his mom. And then Harley's in the back here.
Oh,
She's our sweetheart.
so cute. Ugh.
I love it. I love it. First and foremost, G, let's start with what we just saw this past weekend. Of course, Tabitha Ritchie, past opponent. Angela Hill, maybe a future opponent. Not sure now. Maybe we'll see what happens. A really good fight. Went to decision. Like probably the whole world thought the fight was going to go, but it went to a decision. What did you think of the fight? What did you think of Tabitha? And then maybe more importantly, what did you think of Angela?
I can't knock it because it worked against me. But I'm like, it's just such an unentertaining way to win Tabitha has. I'm like, she's good at doing it though. I can't knock I can't knock it. She wins fights. She's good at winning fights. But it's just like you said, you expect a decision every time. It wasn't necessarily an entertaining fight when it was going her way. When it was going a little bit more Angie's way, that's when we had a little bit more of the excitement. But yeah, she's good at winning fights, so I'm like, can't take that from her.
Let me just ask you a brutal question right away. And I think I know the answer, but maybe not. Would you rather go 18-2, G, but be in a ton of boring fights, maybe not being fan friendly to the fans and just kind of going through it, or maybe kind of having a little bit of a Cowboy Cerrone, or like so beloved, maybe a little bit above 500, maybe 10-8, but like fight anyone, anytime, best fights of the year, and just beloved as from the fans and from probably the organization. If you had to pick one of those other avenues, which way would you go?
I'm definitely, I'm the finish. I like being a finisher. I like going all of my majority of my wins are finishes. I have 2 decision wins so far. And I'm like, even those, my 2 decision wins that I have, it was pretty much, I just beat up the girl for 15 minutes. I sat on top and she just didn't give me the opportunity, but it's like, there's no time limit. I was finishing that fight, just ran out of time on those ones.
Dude, maybe one of the best comments we've ever had in Fight Bananas history. This is so savage. Jillian's interviews are more exciting than Tabitha's fights. God, that is savage. Savage. Dixon Carter, shout out to you. Savage. Absolutely savage. Okay, that fight alone. Any other fights on the card? Kaio won the main event. We have 2 new Ultimate Fighter. Let me just hit on that real quick. I think we all remember how big the Ultimate Fighter show used to be, and when you won it, like that, those guys won it, and it was just like buried in the card. It was so wild how much it's lost its luster. And I remember when that used to be like a main event or a co-main or just meant so big. I remember Michael Chiesa winning, and just like it felt like humongous, like he won the world championship. Now those guys won, but like I'm like, Michael Morales looked awesome. Like it just kind of. It's wild, the down on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, it almost makes me wonder why they're still doing it, honestly, especially with the Contender Series now. It's just like,
so good.
Even like for the fighters, it's so much more to go through. Like you have to go through 3 weight cuts plus the finale. You have to just be in the house. There's no TV, no music, no books, no nothing. You're just sitting there bored the whole time. It's like, it's just a mental pressure cooker in there versus having one fight on the Contender Series. You know, I just don't get the purpose of, I don't, even the fact that they're on the same night. Because I'm a fight fan, so I try to watch everything, and I'm
Yeah.
like, they've been on the same night. I'm like, that's just weird.
Yeah. No, I
It's
agree. Really cool. Real quick, Elle, you have the next one. Next Monday on Cage Side Fight Bananas, Tough 32 winner Ryan Loader on the show. That's
Ooh,
awesome, Chris.
let's
Shout
go.
out. Shout out.
No,
Okay, Elle?
G hit the nail on the head. The guys that the UFC really, really wants right now are going to Contender Series, or they're just getting signed right away. So it's like the guys who end up in the Ultimate Fighter typically have to fight through a little bit more adversity to get into the UFC. So like, of course, they're not going to be main eventing cards because it's just not, the show isn't what it used to be. Like it used to be like and I bring this up every time we talk about the Ultimate Fighter. My favorite season is still the flyweight tournament because it was just the best possible guys in that weight class that weren't in the UFC yet, like absolute savages. And the fights were incredible. I do think this season's fights and talent was substantially better than the last two seasons. But even then, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like the guys that they're really, really high on are going to get Contender Series shots.
And
So
like you said, this season, because they were drawing from like all different countries around the world, I feel like they got a little bit more exciting fights, a little bit more diversity. But it was like the last couple seasons, I don't know how many people are even, like, if anybody did get signed off of it, even if the champion still like the champion I know of the 125 girls season isn't doing great. You know, it's like it's just,
I
even
think
when,
Brian Battle's the exception, right?
Good
yeah,
one.
Like
Yeah.
he's
you're
doing
right.
the best out of anybody of the last few seasons.
yeah. So like the talent pool hasn't even been great on the Ultimate Fighter the last couple seasons because, like you said, everybody's going to the Contender.
Yeah.
I
So
love
it's
it. I love it.
Chris said Tough may have outlived its premise. Yeah. It may have. It's kind of sad. It's kind of fun, but like there was no drama on this season either. So it's like we didn't even get that part. At least the fights were really good. But like Valentina and Alexa Grasso are like the two most respectful, least like exciting personalities in MMA.
That just kind of reminded me of a fight of this last weekend. Wang Kong. She was the first fight on the card.
Dude.
You guys watch her?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about her in the first hour.
Yeah, like she has a win against Valentina in kickboxing, so that's why it reminded me. But I'm like, that girl looked nasty. Obviously, I feel like Victoria Leonardo kind of gave her. She kind of gave her the what she wanted. You know, she was kind of trying to brawl with her a little bit. Wasn't, and that's exactly like as a kickboxing, I guess, like expert, that's what you want. You know, you want somebody who's going to sit there and try to brawl with you. But it was an absolutely beautiful, just like uppercut, overhand, put her down, lights out. It was gorgeous.
She looked great. Absolutely. G, I agree. But then the other side, and we are usually 98% pro and positive with Fight Bananas. I'm just going to be real. I think Leonardo looked awful. I think she's not a great fighter. Like, she should not be on the UFC roster. Like,
I didn't want to be that brutal, but
there you go.
They will do it for you, apparently.
Yeah. I'm trying to like tiptoe around that, not to just completely talk shit. But
9-6. 9-6.
Yeah.
Let's see, 1-4 in her 5 UFC.
1-4.
And
And like,
she beat a girl who was 8-2.
Who was it?
Mandy Bohm. But she left. She's boxing people now. So she must have gone back to boxing.
Yeah, I think she's
She went 0-2. 0-2 in the UFC.
God bless her. All right.
Not a great UFC record, unfortunately.
She should be out of the thing. Good question from Dixon, who added the great comment earlier. Gee, how hard have these recent weight cuts been since moving down? You've looked fantastic, so I'm assuming good.
Yeah, they've been definitely. I guess it's a process right now. My last, some have been good, some have been bad. My first one went absolutely amazing. Whenever I fought Pierre Rodriguez, that one was elite. Then I know we've talked about it before. Obviously, I had too quick of a turnaround with Tabitha Ritchie. That one was absolutely horrible. And even this last one, I've been struggling, I guess, just with my own stuff. We're dealing with stuff physically here that I'm talking to doctors and stuff that we're trying to figure out with me too. That I'm not being able to rehydrate, and we don't know why. Because I'm not having hard weight cuts, but I'm having hard times rehydrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm talking to like gastroenterologists, things like that. We're trying to figure out for my next weight cut. But yeah, my last 2 weight cuts, I've been puking for a good 3 hours post rehydration.
No, that's horrible.
So I'm like, they
Oh,
haven't been going great. Yeah, but my last one against Michelle Watterson, my one before that against Pollyanna Viana in Canada. When I try to rehydrate, I'm like, I step on the scale. The getting on the scale is easy. Like getting to the scale, I'm like, I feel good. I cut the weight. That part's easy. It's the rehydration part that my body's not liking right now that we're trying
yeah.
to figure out.
I'm probably the dumbest person. Like, what do you have any idea? Or like that might be a little bit more up your alley. Why like do you have a lean on what it could be or
Right now we just know that my body gets super acidic during my cuts. So we're just, I don't, like I said, I'm working with a doctor. We're getting me on certain supplements, things like that to hopefully get my body less acidic. So it might just be something that it's just me, it's just something that it's my body and it doesn't react well to these weight cuts as well. So it's like, it's just something that we have to incorporate into my future camps, but it's just all part of the learning process and being a fighter. And I'm like, honestly, though, I felt absolutely wonderful in my last 2 fights. Performance-wise, I felt great. Walking in there, I've been bigger than I have my last couple camps, so it's weird. I'm like walking in the cage, I've been 130, where I've been a little bit lower before that. So I'm like, I'm still putting on 15 pounds overnight. Being able to walk in the cage and perform. Obviously, my last 2 fights, I feel like I've performed to my best ability. So I'm like, I feel like it doesn't show, but it's definitely it's a learning process that we're trying to figure out.
I say it all the time. I joke with Grant about it more often than not. Like winning in the UFC is hard. Like you got 2 wins in a row. You have UFC records. We joke about it, G, all the time. Like winning in the UFC is hard. So I think what you're doing, I think it's 3 out of your last 4 as a strawweight. We joke about it all the time. Strawweight savage. Sounds like your body wants you to be featherweight savage, but hey, we'll hopefully continue the strawweight for a little bit. These comments, oh wow, hope everything gets better for you, Queen. Appreciate that. Says that sucks. Sorry to hear that, Jillian. And then it goes, appreciate you sharing, G. So yeah, people behind you.
I'm like, halfway through it, I'm like, is this a little bit too much sharing?
That's why they love you.
I know.
Being real, keeping it real.
Exactly.
This is a comment. Oh, I want to ask you this too. So I love working with Daya. Said how has she liked working with Coach Daya and sharpening her boxing? I go up to Boca Boxing District most Monday nights to work with Daya as well. Absolutely love it up there. Are you liking it?
I'm actually going up there right now, right after this. That's where I'm headed.
Hey.
So I actually work with Brandon Sanford there. So he works under Daya. He's absolutely amazing. Daya is absolutely amazing. I think though, like obviously Dustin Poirier trusts him with one of the best boxers in the UFC. You got to know that he's legit. Like he really is just a mastermind in the sport.
Has he said something or someone in that gym said something to you as simple as like, gee, just move your foot 2 inches that way? And you're like light bulb kind of moment of boxing? Or is it more just more technique, skill, just like week after week after week after week, getting sharpening your skills? Or has it been a couple of these little like, no, just your jab should just, hey, come inside just a little bit more, like little things like that?
I guess it's a little bit of both, but
Okay.
that picking apart is what I appreciate about him.
Yeah.
That a lot of boxing coaches or a lot of pad holders, they're just gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, slip, whatever, just tell you the combination. Where it's like you're not, you're getting cardio reps there. You're not necessarily making your self better. Where it's like he's gonna pick you apart. He's gonna tell you you need to be an inch to the left. You need to do this with your shoulder. You need to sit down more, whatever it is. He can see that, where I feel like it takes a more educated mind in boxing to be able to do that.
I love it. I got a fun question for you if we don't have anything. Anything else from this past weekend, Kyle, or anything going forward? No, okay. The fight announcement, I don't know, G, if you even saw. Dude, my head is just, it's always spinning.
This is like
It
the
never
third
stops.
time Dave's been like, "El, do you have anything?" Wait. No.
I'm sorry, y'all. Fight announcement just booked 2 hours ago, December 14th, Tampa, Florida. Fight Banana Suite. We're trying to make it happen. Miranda Maverick versus Tracy Cortez. And Miranda Maverick came out hot. Huh?
Yeah, I said that's literally what I was going to ask her too. So let's go.
Okay, there you go.
That's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very similar to each other. So
why is Miranda mad at Tracy? What happened? Like, she's like, hey, like, look at her post. It looks like she's a little bit upset.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Miranda's not one to be in like drama, I feel like either.
Yeah.
So I feel like they both have very like similar, very wrestling bases though. They, yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you how this one I would call it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I might give an edge to Miranda, but I think this is it should be a fairly even matched fight there.
Yeah, I feel like they have similar skill sets. Yeah. I do think Miranda tends to throw a little more volume, and like she doesn't really slow down, while Tracy likes to kind of pick her shots a little more individually. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm kind of on the same wavelength as that for sure.
I just want to throw one that's happening next week. Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady, and in the corner is going to be the great Dean Thomas of Sean Brady. So.
Oh, really?
Wait, whoa. We're gonna do some really cool like graphics here. Wait, Dean Thomas is going to be in Sean Brady's corner?
Yes, he's been going up there the last couple weeks to go work with him. So I think last time he fought too, Dean was in his corner as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I like a little bit of savage grappling in there, you know.
Imagine if I know you are in a loving, happy relationship, but imagine Sean Brady and Gillian Robertson had a baby kid. How good of a fighter would that person be?
Me and my boyfriend already joke about that enough because he's a former Navy SEAL and trains MMA for a hobby. So I'm like, when we always joke, we're like, if we ever have a kid, he's gonna be a serial killer. Like, there's no hope for him, you know.
Dude, I didn't know he was a Navy SEAL. Dude, shout out to him. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Dude, nice. Dude, I like the guy already. Now that's just the top notch more. I like him a lot more. All right, here we go. I got one last fun question for you, G. We'll let you run. I appreciate you every Tuesday. Next week, G's taking a second. Julian's cable. That's a good one. Dawson, well played. So this past weekend, I was in Washington, D.C., doing some stuff for the PFL, and a lot of it was like they were trying to hype up Cyborg, and they were calling her, and this is why this question's coming up to me. They kept on mentioning that Cyborg's the greatest female fighter ever. And they were like, mention it, the GOAT, best female fighter ever. And I was like, I don't know about this, so on. So I was like, I don't want to put you on the spot, and because I do think I know your answer. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a runway. Mount Rushmores, people love Mount Rushmores. We got a new graphic artist here in Fight Banana, so we're going to make you graphic artwork of Gillian Savage Robertson's female MMA Mount Rushmore. So who's your top 4, the greatest 4 female fighters ever in the history of MMA?
First off, as soon as you said that about Chris Cyborg, I know exactly where you're going with it. Because
Did you really?
The whole time they were saying that this weekend, I was thinking like, that's Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, for one, it is Amanda. But two, I talked to PFL execs for 2 different reasons, but one of them was that I was like, guys, you look so bad saying the whole thing about Cyborg because you were saying the same thing about Kayla Harrison 5 months ago. Like, it's like, hey, I don't even want to go with the analogy that I had, but my point is like, you just can't flip-flop like that so damn quick. It's like, you could say she's a great female fighter, one of the best ever, but calling her the GOAT, like you literally just called Kayla Harrison a GOAT last year. Like, I think it's pretty petty of them.
Oh, yeah. For my Mount Rushmore, though, I would say obviously Amanda Nunes on
Amanda.
there. Chris Cyborg, I think, does deserve a spot on it.
Okay.
I guess I'll take one from each division. I'll go for
What the?
I would say Valentina for the 25ers and
Wow.
Whaley for the 15.
Wow. So big one, G. We might have to change it if you don't want, but that is a great list. A great list. Ronda Rousey, no Mount Rushmore.
Pioneered it.
It's hard. See, the one I was debating was Whaley or Joanna. Those two, I feel
Ooh.
like Joanna might belong there more than Whaley because Joanna is the strawweight queen.
She
Whaley,
was
I
a
just feel like
pioneer of it as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I think mine's Amanda. Ronda Rousey has to be on mine. Maybe I'm a male and it's easier. She is like, if you think of female MMA as a casual, like you, G, we talk about this all the time. Like you ask a novice, like Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey, like those are the two. Amanda, Ronda, to me, Joanna. Like I am the biggest Joanna fan ever. Love me some Joanna Jacek. I think Whaley's maybe too early to be on it. I don't disagree. I've seen a lot about Latina love in the comments. I see a Carano one. Guys, maybe I'm super wrong on this. Maybe I'm super homer on this. I might go Kayla Harrison. I might do it.
I don't hate it.
I might do it.
The only thing
Joanna, Kayla, Manda, Ronda.
The
I
only
think
thing with I was gonna say the only thing with Ronda is I feel like she's a great personality in the sport 100%, and she opened the doors for women. But I was going with the technical side,
No,
I guess, the greatest
I love
technical
your
side.
list. Love it.
Yeah, and I just don't see Ronda. Well, obviously it showed whenever she came back against Amanda. She can't hang with the greatest women of all time. So that's why I wouldn't put her on my list. But she is such a pioneer for the sport. Like I have so much respect for her.
my thing is, I think people get confused when I'm asking people for their Mount Rushmore. I'm not asking for their top 4. I'm at because Mount Rushmore is the founding fathers. Like we're talking founding fathers, in my opinion. So like it to me, I think Ronda deserves a spot on Mount Rushmore, while I'm not going to say she's on my greatest of all time list.
Okay.
I agree with that. I
agree with that. I agree with that. So, but I get what you're saying. So, Ella, are you saying on your Mount Rushmore, there's no newness to it? There's no Whaley. There's no Valentina. There's even Amanda's kind of new. She just retired like a year ago.
But it depends on what you've done in the sport at that point. Like, yeah, I think Whaley is is probably one of the top 2 women in the UFC right now, pound for pound, 100%. Like, is she currently the best one? Yes. But yeah, I don't know that she's been around long enough for me to put her over Joanna on, because Joanna had such an incredible run. Just like I don't think Jose Aldo is still the best guy in the world, obviously, because he's losing now. But he still belongs on my Mount Rushmore because of the legacy of the sport that he left behind. That's my take.
I love it. We're going to go into this Mount Rushmore. We're going to let G go, but there's 2 quick, fun questions for G. Dude, we went to YouTube today, exclusive to G. It's been awesome. Great comment people in it. So 2 questions for you real quick. Last question, G. Who do you got, Dakota Ditcheva or Talia Santos in the PFL finals?
I'm going to hope Dakota, because Talia gave me 11 stitches in my nose.
There you go. I love it.
Dakota's got this. She's got this.
Yeah,
I'm going to hope that Dakota's got this.
Dakota, I talked to Dakota 3 different times in Washington, D.C. Dude, I am the biggest Dakota Ditcheva fan. Huge Dakota fan. Another one. Last question, G, from another person. Who you got, Valentina or Grasso? I believe it's 3 at UFC Noche. It's not 2 anymore. It's UFC 3, but UFC Noche around 3 weeks away. Who do you have on that?
That one... obviously such a tough one to call. It went, I feel like, both ways, both times. I think I want to lean Valentina. I feel like Valentina made small mistakes in the last 2 that led to the slip up, but I feel like she's a better fighter overall.
I agree. My only fear, and it's so funny, and I'm sorry, G, I took way too much of your time. I agree with that answer so much. I just think this is not Valentina of 2020 anymore. I think she's aging in front of us. And like we kind of think of Valentina when she was invincible in 2020, knocking out anyone she fought. And it happens. We all age and we all get a tiny bit slower. And I think in a weird way, Grasso's like this and Valentina's like this. And I don't know where they're at on that trajectory yet. I do think Valentina is definitely better. Her peak is better than Alexa Grasso's peak, for sure. But where are they at in September of 2024? That's the question.
No, I'm like, it's been very close, especially the last time.
Yeah.
A lot of people would give Valentina the fight, you know?
Yeah.
It was a very close fight. And I just honestly I would have given Valentina the fight last time.
No,
or
I agree. Me too. Me too.
So I feel like Valentina just is the more well-rounded fighter, and if she stays focused for 50 or 25 minutes, it's her fight.
I love it. Guys, follow Gillian the Savage Robertson on IG, Savage_UFC. Anything else? I saw you put it on your story, something about a shelter, dogs. You want to shout that out real quick?
I just always, honestly, it breaks my heart. In Miami, there's a huge stray dog issue where the Miami Humane Society is overfilled. It's been overfilled for months. If you do find a stray dog on the street, you can't like call anybody to come pick it up. They tell you to just let it go. There's absolutely nowhere for these dogs to go, and it just breaks my heart. And I'm sitting there every other day on Instagram crying, looking at them in their cages. So, I mean, it was something I used to do before I got into the UFC. That was a huge part of my life as I worked at the Humane Society. I volunteered at the Humane Society from the time I was 7 till I was 22. So I'm like, it's just always been a huge part of my life. And I always just want to do anything I can for these dogs. My dad is actually, we're talking right now and trying to get a foundation started so that we can get something going in my name for the dogs, getting money towards maybe just getting like spay and neuters, getting them food, things like that for Humane Society. So we're like in the process of that now.
That's amazing to hear, G. If that comes to be, if there's anything that we can do at Fight Bananas to help, push, promote, or give, we will definitely do that. And I love that. That's amazing.
All right. Thank you so much.
Later. Absolutely. Gillian the Savage Robertson off next week. We'll see her in 2 weeks. Later. There we go. There's G. Dude, that was good. I got like